Carlos. I am. Yes, I love it. 3 sacks. I hope we get 3 more. He gives us 3 more next week. Yeah, I'm not, and I haven't seen the tape, but just from what I saw out there and how everything was run and the stunts, and I thought he did a great job. I did. So I'm not like I'm down on him or something. I thought he did a great job, but I thought all those guys did too. They all funneled into each other, you know.
That's Dan Campbell, coach of the Lions. They had the big win over the Washington Commanders, and they tried to let the Commanders back into it, up 22-0 at halftime. Commanders chipping away, but the Lions slamming the door. Aiden Hutchinson with those 3 sacks. Maybe he will be one of the superlatives as we get into the Week 2 awards. Myles, you're up.
Well, I will give a superlative here that is not necessarily positive, but I just feel like I got to say it. And it's the Colts House of Horrors. Like, what in the world happens when the Colts go down to Jacksonville? I don't know, but they looked like the worst team in football yesterday. They get shut out by the Jaguars 24-0. Matt Ryan looked like, one of those guys that, it's time to send him to the farm upstate. I mean, the Jaguars played incredibly, but the Colts also played so poorly. I mean, they were getting after Matt Ryan, they were intercepting passes, but the Colts just didn't do anything offensively. And you had Frank Reich come out there and he's calling it a pathetic performance. This is the kind of stuff that starts to get coaches and front office folks fired. And if you're a Colts fan, I understand why you would have some concerns today. And if you're Jim Irsay, I also would understand why you'd have some concerns today. You can't just fire Carson Wentz after losing to Jacksonville this time.
You went with the "it's time to go to a farm upstate" reference instead of the glue factory, I think, which you mentioned on Twitter yesterday for Matt Ryan, which is fitting. If you're going to call your team the Colts, you open the door to the I remember when I was a kid and I became horrified when I learned, and I don't know that they ever really did it or that they still do, but that glue was horses. That was kind of horrifying for me to learn, even more horrifying than learning that wrestling wasn't real. How about Irsay after the game? This was a point that I think we were sharing on the PFT text chain. He's out there signing footballs. Who wants an autographed football from Jim Irsay?
No.
I am curious. I mean, really, is this something that the average football fan aspires to add to their collection of memorabilia? I have a football signed by Jim Irsay. I really don't know. Are there? I'm not being a smartass. Are there people out there that need to have a football signed by Jim Irsay? I mean, I've had people ask me to sign footballs, and I'm like, "Are you really? If you want it, I'll do it." But I'll make it worth less than it currently is. If you want me to deface it, I'm happy to do it. But it just seemed odd to me that was Irsay's post-game vibe. So, hey, the only audience that matters is him, Myles, and he seemed to be fine with everything yesterday, right? Maybe he's grown accustomed to losing in Jacksonville. He just accepts it, that's an annual ritual for the Colts now.
Yeah, 8 straight times that they have lost in Jacksonville, which is crazy. Last victory was 2014. You know what year that is, Mike? That's the year I graduated college.
That is depressing. That is at least I wasn't 50 yet, but I was pretty damn close. This is the "you aren't good enough to suck" award, and this goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers because they could have won yesterday. They could have beaten the Patriots. And the way the Steelers are going to win games is with total team effort and being opportunistic and making things happen and avoiding big mistakes. And there was a sequence, it was just a few plays apart, where Cameron Sutton, Steelers defensive back, had an interception in his hands. You have to catch that ball if you're Cameron Sutton. And I don't want to hear, well, that's why he plays defense. No. They all got the gloves on. You should be able to make that catch if you're an NFL defensive back. That would have given the Steelers an opportunity. It would have given them a lift. They could have taken the ball down the field. They could have scored, and they could have won the game. And then, to make matters worse, Gunnar Olszewski, former Patriot, giving the Patriots the gift of gifts with a muffed punt, giving them a short field, and allowing them to put the game, as a practical matter, out of reach. The Steelers are not good enough to suck in those moments. You need to turn those moments into your advantage and keep them from becoming a huge advantage for your opponent. Steelers and Patriots are a lot alike. They're not good enough to come out and beat you, so they have to take advantage of mistakes and not make the mistakes. And yesterday, in that short window, the Steelers didn't take advantage and then gave the Patriots the opportunity that they took advantage of. Game over.
Yeah, it was one of those sequences where it's like, okay, you can understand that this is a clear turning point in the game. And when you don't make those plays that are there to be made, I mean, that was a tailor-made interception for Cam Sutton. He's on a knee. He's just got to make the catch. You know, like the defensive backs talk about it when they drop an interception like that. It's like, oh man, you just dropped the money. And like he dropped money for him like as a contract, but he also really just dropped a win. I mean, look at this play. It is tailor-made for him. You know, it's second down right there, and then they get the punt in the next couple of plays. But yeah, that is a huge, huge thing that they did not do. And when you don't make the plays, then that's eventually what's going to happen to you. Let me go with my next one here, and I'm going to go back to Thursday night for this superlative because it's week 2, so I still get to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs because for them, it's still my division, and it's going to be my division until somebody else comes and takes it from me. And the Chargers had an opportunity to do it, but they couldn't get it done. And, you know, when you get the 99-yard interception return by Watson, he's a rookie. He does the thing that he needs to do, takes advantage of the opportunity. Like, that's huge. And that's the kind of thing where you say, yeah, Kansas City is still the class of the AFC West. And until somebody proves that they can go in there and take it from them, it is still Kansas City's division.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. We forget about the Thursday night game. It's such a focal point in Friday's overall discussion, and then we reset and we get caught up in Sunday, and we forget all about Thursday. But the Chiefs continue to be the class of that division. They're 2-0. Everybody else is 1-1, and they've already got some separation in the toughest division in football, and I have a feeling that separation is going to continue. I'm going to go with the best receiver you've never heard of, but you need to. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh,
he
yeah.
has been incredible this year for the Detroit Lions, and it started late last year. He is on a streak now of at least 8 receptions in 8 straight games. He's the 3rd player in league history to accomplish that. The other 2, Antonio Brown and Michael Thomas. Pretty good company for a young receiver in the National Football League. And he's now the 3rd player all-time under the age of 23 to record a touchdown catch in 6 straight games. He joins Randy Moss and Rob Gronkowski in that category. So anytime that you're in that stratosphere with Moss, Gronk, Antonio Brown, Michael Thomas, you're doing something right. And that's where Amon-Ra St. Brown is. So get to know who he is. One of the best players on the Lions and maybe only going to get better and better. He had yesterday 9 catches, 116 receiving yards, 68 rushing yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns in that Lions win.
Yeah, that 58-yard run that he had on the end around was a huge, huge play in that game. And you know what? Shout out to Jared Goff. One of the best games he's played in years. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. They played clean football in Detroit, and that's one of the big reasons why they were able to still pull out that victory. No turnovers yesterday.
We may not agree on many things as it relates to Jared Goff, but I will agree that it is indeed one of the best games he's played in years. I will definitely agree with you on that. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.